Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the FlurrySports Podcast, episode 192. We are getting dangerously close to 200, and
Whoa.
Jake and I we've been planning. We've been planning some big stuff for episode 200. Everyone knows. This has been a planning season. We're just planning for what's ahead. Let's calculate. Are we going to get to episode 200? Yeah, we're for sure going to get to it before the end of the season.
Yeah. Episode 200,
of course,
the same day. What NFL event do we want to announce it's going to happen that day? That's going to be past the trade deadline, so no trade news.
Right.
Coach will be fired the week of our 200th episode. You'll hear it here first. You'll never believe who it is.
I'm calculating which week this is. So we got 6, 7. I think episode 200 comes out November 26th. So this is Thanksgiving week. We knew this.
Episode 200 with the newly free agent Doug Peterson.
Oh, I think he's going to be on the market for quite some time at that point, but we shall see. Bill Belichick back in the NFL, coaching on Thanksgiving. I don't even know who played. Probably Cowboys, right?
That would be the thing. Not a chance in hell.
No. I mean, I think there's a chance he somehow gets that job. I don't think Jerry Jones moves on from McCarthy in the middle of the season, but I think Jerry Jones is possibly on his last breath with everything happening to him as well. So maybe this is his dying wish to get Bill Belichick to come. Maybe he gives Bill Belichick the team, not his son. That could be fun.
Wow.
On Thanksgiving.
I don't know. I heard a pitch for Belichick and Saban to return to Cleveland, which I'd be in on. Replace one coach of the year for another. He's clearly the problem.
Stefanski is definitely the issue in Cleveland right now. That is a bad team, and it can't be. I mean, they have a quarterback who's getting paid a lot of money, so he's good. I've heard that before.
I've used this tactic with students before when I've met with them. I think media starts have to do this with Stefanski. Oh, Watson's not the problem? Cool. So I believe you, and that means it's you. If you want to play ball, we'll play ball. It's like when I meet with kids and they're like, I was the only one drinking in the room. And I'm like, oh, you drank 2 handles of Jaeger by yourself? Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So Jake works at a college in the halls. Do you do the old thing like you catch a kid smoke a cigarette, you make them smoke a whole pack? So if they drink a handle of Jaeger, are you bringing in 3? Like, you know what? You're going to drink it until you don't like it anymore.
No, but I will say when I was in RA, we had that conversation. We were never going to let him do it, but we had to talk about it in the moment because these kids got caught at the start of a party. So it was before Oktoberfest. So they had bought $280 some worth of alcohol, and they had opened up 1 can. And the student was like, can you just double whatever you're about to do and just let us come back in 10 minutes? And the one kid was like, what if they were like, you're already here. What if we just drank all of it? And we had that combo after we said no. And then we had the combo afterwards of what if the punishment was you have to drink all $280 worth of booze right fucking now, die. And I think we made a joke about it to the student. They're like, I'll do it. And I'm like, and that's why it's not an option.
Man, that sucks. So you had to take it all
and dump it. You have to dump it in front of them. They have to walk with you hand in hand.
That is pain. That's the worst punishment of all time. They're licking the sinks afterwards, just trying to get
they have to dump it because you can't touch it because it's not can't ever touch you because then it's they could take a photo, frame you. That was my favorite thing in training. They were going to be like, see, you were drinking. So they have to dump it. And obviously, because we've ran into that before I like to think there was a while where they were like, oh yeah, you just take care of it. They'd go dump it, just drink it in the bathroom. So you've got to go with them. So you just watch them dump it all down the drain, making the same 5 questions and 5 jokes. Like, oh man, you're really going to make me dump it all. Oh.
That stinks, man. That's painful for nobody wins. Nobody wins in that scenario.
I've had to tell you this one before, but it is one of my favorite RA stories. One of my favorites when I was a senior. I was like the lead RA of a team, and I was in the room with the other like 22-year-old RA. Like we've both been on the team for like 3 years. The new guy called us and was like, "Hey man, I just had my first alcohol incident. I'm not sure if I got it right. Can you like come to my room quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I walked in, and there he had a pile of booze in the middle of his room. He had just gone to an alcohol incident. He just grabbed it all. He like
Nice.
went in, busted them, and he grabbed 2 bags. I still remember 2 bags of wine, a handle of Jim Beam, and a 6-pack of like some domestic beer. But then he grabbed it all in his hands, and then as he left the incident, he's like, "I hope you all learned something from this." And then he took their alcohol back to his room.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds, yeah, you did a great job, but
I like, he got into his room and he's like, "Man, what am I supposed to do?" Like, he's like, "I know something went wrong because I have it now."
right. Yeah. What do we do? I mean, that kid's could have for sure framed him.
100%. Well, by the way, here's how you know you never get away from it. By the time I got to his room, I had like 3 text messages from other people in the building being like, "I just saw so-and-so walk by with a bottle of Jim Beam through the lobby."
He made us all slap the bag as he ran by. It's crazy.
Yeah. So me and the other 22-year-old had to dump that out because we were like, someone can take a picture of us if they want. We're legal.
That's true. That is true. And what's up, Diggs, in the chat? If you got any random topics you want us to talk about, does not need to be sports related. Trust me. Let us know. I mean, we're in NFL Week 6. I feel like the grind has been it's been a long time. Like football, we're excited. Football's back. I'm still excited. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But is it 3 weeks in a row now with international games? And it's like, well, yesterday was painful. So we start with the international game, not really a good one. And then we
A lot of bad football.
A lot of bad football yesterday. And then we end with Giants Bengals. And it's like, shoot me. What are we like? I have to remind myself every time, like in February, you're going to look back and love this. You're going to love that there was football out of this game. You enjoy it. Enjoy the game. It's so good. And you know what's even more painful? Last night's game sucked, right?
Yeah.
I missed Joe Burrow running for a 50-yard touchdown. Tell me what else happened in that game. Nothing else happened in the game. And I missed it.
No. I was going to say, you literally took the words out of my mouth. I'm like, that play was cool. That was, yeah, you missed that. That sucks.
Yeah, nothing else happened. It was just me going, throw it to Eric All. Throw it to Eric All so I can hit my parlay. Throw it to Eric All. It never happened.
Did you see Daniel Jones throw the most Will Levis interception of all time?
I must have.
In the red zone to start, his arm got hit, but it was just a pumpkin up in the air.
Oh, if it was right away, if it was like first part of the first quarter, then I didn't see it.
Oh, they drove all the way down the field. It was when, like, is this going to be close? Drove all the way down, and I do think Jones' arm got hit, but just in the air, as high and as slow as it could be. Terrible pick. So no, that was the only other thing I was like, oh, that was a little entertaining. But no, I mean, I was just going to go through and see how many, like, what you would call good games yesterday. Like,
yeah, not many. There are some teams that played good in bad games. For example, Packers. Like, Packers played probably one of their best games of the season. Correct. Not a good game whatsoever.
I think you would say there was one good game, and I mean, maybe 2, depending on how much of a masochist you are and what you were feeling during Browns-Eagles. But like one good game, Commanders-Ravens, and then 4 close games, and that was it. Like Browns, Eagles, Colts, Titans, Chargers, Broncos, period. The rest of them were duds.
Yeah. I mean, we got to say that if there's a game Joe Flacco starts, that's a good game. And Joe Flacco, by the way, since starting for the Browns last year, from that point on, he has the most passing yards in the NFL. That's incredible.
Listen, they start Anthony Richardson?
They shouldn't. If they want to win games this year, they should not.
And by the way, he's got, every time they play him, all I hear about is how little experience he's got. Rest him a little bit. He's hurt all the time.
what's the difference between resting or like sitting Jordan Love for 4 years than this situation?
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is Anthony Richardson needs experience, and I think he does as well. But he also could benefit from watching footsteps Joe Flacco just drive the field, just absolutely dismantling defenses. I mean, I think there's a lot to be. I truly believe let Anthony Richardson sit the rest of this year, truthfully. And that's not a joke. That's not anything. I think the Colts would be a pretty good football team. I think they're probably going to be on the, edge of the playoffs if they do so.
Yeah.
And if something happens to Flacco, then fine, put Richardson in. But if we want to teach these second-year young quarterbacks that you have to play well to have a job, then we can't just give him this job back. He has to do something good.
And also,
you get a treat if you do a trick.
I do think it's a rare opportunity for, like, no one thinks this is. I think you could sub in Flacco, and some idiot would still do this, but it's so clearly like Flacco's playing great. Only idiots would come out and be like, "Is Richardson washed?" It's not a Bryce Young thing.
Correct.
Like,
correct.
He's been playing okay, but he's played like 3 games total. He's been super hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's the best of both worlds because you have an injury reason and your backup that you put in is playing really well.
Yeah, you should be able to show Anthony Richardson and talk to Anthony Richardson and just talk about and give him the reasons why this is actually a better situation for him. And the next year, it's going to be his job if he earns it in the training camp. And he's going to be healthy then. Like, wasn't healthy this offseason. He didn't even have a full offseason. Now he's going to have a full offseason. He'll get healthy. He'll be prepared. And then he'll be good to go. Otherwise, just study film, practice. And this gets him the mental side of the game as well. If you can teach him how to prepare and he's going to be great at preparing, then all of a sudden on-field stuff's better. And you can talk about, hey, look at this offensive line. Joe Flacco can take these hits, but you know who can't? You. So we'll draft you offensive linemen next year, and then that'll be better as well.
Well, that was going to be my thing. You either make the playoffs, sneak in there, because maybe you do, because 2 people in your division are terrible, to quote Charles Barkley. So maybe you do. But if you don't, you're like one of the few teams they're not going to draft a quarterback. You could get like one of the better non-quarterback picks in the draft.
For sure. There will be, this is going to be a good draft. You'll be able to get a good tackle, or you'll be able to get, they should get a tackle. They'll probably get a tackle.
Yeah. And they could probably get the best tackle in the draft.
Yeah, there's a chance. Or like you said, you're going to make the playoffs and everyone's going to be happier.
True. So I don't know. That game was fun because you had Joe Flacco on one side, and I think there's an argument that Will Levis is the most fun player to watch in the entire football league right now.
That's fair. That's fair. He might be the worst quarterback in the league, but he is electric on the field. He is must-watch television. And that's why I will say it again. We said this before. The thing we've been wrong about the absolute most through 8 seasons of this show is that we said the Titans were going to be one of the most boring teams in the league this year. They were one of the least interesting teams. Completely wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah. They're must-watch television.
Here's what I would say about the Titans and to Will Levis to some effect. I don't think we give it like everyone's like, he's terrible. He's bad. Maybe. I don't think he's very good. But here's what I would say. We do this with good players where it's like, oh, I don't know how good. Who's the last player I heard people talk about this way? Let's go back to Tim Tebow. Like, is Tim Tebow good? I don't know, but he's clutch, right? Game on the line, what quarterback would you pick? Not best quarterback in the league, but if you had to win a game, maybe you would pick Tim Tebow. If I had to lose a game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
My pick was on the line. Not the worst quarterback in the league, but there's a will, there's a way. I've got to somehow lose. It's Will Levis.
We're up 33 points entering the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
We need this top 3 draft pick. We need to lose this game. Will, are you ready? And he's just doing handstands on the sideline or something. I don't know. Eating bananas peel first. Like, damn right he's ready. Like, he is so bad.
I do hope the coach quote of, if we just punted every play, every first down in the 4th quarter, we would have won, ages as well as I think it does. Because this is a moment in time. My one Will Levis question, this was going to be a fun game we could do around the league in general, which is you help me figure out what the title is. What I've got now is Are You Gino, which I think we could do a little bit better. But essentially, is Will Levis going to be an asshole and be good in like 5 years for like the Texans? No, that'd be weird. But name team here. Like, is he going to Sam Darnold it?
If it was anybody else, I would say yes. Because doesn't it seem like the perfect situation where it's like this MVP candidate, let's rewind 5 years ago, and you play if we punted it every single down, every time we would have won this game. Like and he's like, I put that's bulletin board material. I woke up every day and trained because of that quote. And look at me now. Where is Bill Callahan or whatever his first name is? Like, where is he now? It feels like that would be the thing. But Will Levis stinks, dude. Like there's nothing, there's no redeemable qualities. He's not like coming out of the draft. He was an asshole. Like this guy sucks. We called him a Nepo baby. Like there's nothing good about him at all.
No, the only thing I would say is to that quality, I don't know if he can keep playing this bad.
He had moments last year where it's like, oh, okay, that's actually kind of impressive.
I don't know, man. He's had moments this year where he's been impressive. And then he's had moments where it looks like, he's had moments where it looks like any of us played college football 25. You feel like you're on a roll. I can squeeze this into triple coverage. Fuck. I cannot squeeze into the triple coverage.
I can live with those. I can live with the triple coverage because you can learn, you don't throw that. The windows in the NFL are smaller.
They always look open, though.
They do always, especially for him, apparently. There's too many plays where it's like, you can't explain it. Like, maybe he didn't see a defender. Maybe in college he could have made that throw because there's less athletic people. And then there's I am upside down in the air. Let's just chuck it. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Game on the line. All we have to do is let this ball hit the turf and we win. And he's like, no. I think I could somehow do a 360 no scope touchdown here. So fuck it. DeAndre, he's probably like, fuck it. Delanie Walker's down there somewhere. Delanie Walker retired a few years ago. Like it's inexplainable. I don't know what he's doing.
I know. I don't get it either. And I just don't know. But listen, they're going to draft his replacement next year, so it'll be okay. But I will say this week we're getting into a time of football that, to your point, is not my favorite. But I've come to appreciate what I've called minutia football, which is watching the games kind of stinks. Reading through bullet points afterwards of like Jim Harbaugh had a heart palpitation halfway through. Like there's a lot of little shit happening that's crazy. Not to make light of that one, but it's like big news, different things there. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni fucking shit talking his own fans.
I also like before the game, he shaved his head and everyone was like, this asshole got a haircut? Like he should have been watching film. What's he doing?
We were talking about this before the show because I will say I'm a little into the Sirianni of it all, and here's why. I think he's cooked, and I don't think it has anything to do with any outcomes on the field. I feel like the Eagles are a little bit of because their fans are a-holes, I don't know if they're going to put up with a let's antagonize them coach. Like, I just think they're always going to – Andy Reid was there forever because it's impossible to hate Andy Reid.
Right, yeah.
And I don't think Nick Sirianni can ever win them back over.
No. Like, it's so weird because I think Eagles fans appreciate shit talk. But for whatever reason, like, I don't know, maybe Sirianni just takes it too far. Maybe I don't know what it is, but they're sensitive and they do not like it when he shit talks them. But they'll say anything to them. I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening. I can't comprehend it other than I don't know. I don't know because it's like, do we believe in Jalen Hurts that much where it's like, no, Sirianni, this guy's an MVP and you're screwing him up? Because I don't think that's the issue. Sirianni's also not calling plays. Sirianni's not doing anything with the offense because you already told him he fucking sucks and you need to have somebody else do it. It's Kellen Moore now. And Eagles fans already hate Kellen Moore because they're like, he's terrible with the Cowboys. They said he was terrible. Now he's on your team. And you're like, this guy's not the issue. It's Sirianni. Like there's nothing makes sense here at all.
No, nothing makes sense. And by the way, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. Like,
yeah, they're not a bad team. The team ahead of them's the Commanders.
Correct. Which, by the way, they're electric.
They're great. They're really they might be my most. They're the team I think I like to watch the most this year. Maybe Raven. It's probably Ravens, but I really like the Commanders a lot.
Yeah, part of me was like Titans, but I do,
I mean, sure, yeah,
for a different reason. Honestly, favorite team to watch this season? No bullshit. Right now, it's the Cowboys.
I mean, this week it was the Cowboys for sure.
I could watch them every week. Goddamn, getting the shit kicked out of them. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's what a time to be a Cowboys hater. On his birthday.
It's Jerry Jones' 82nd birthday.
Yeah. And his only quote is that it was a humbling experience. Like, I bet it was.
Imagine being humbled at 82.
He's 82. He's so old. He's so old, and the Lions have done nothing his entire life. And then now they're destroying him in Jerry World.
I need folks to understand this is a man, like, he's scarred by this, and we have photos of him at freaking schools being desegregated. Like, he's had plenty of moments that should have been. He's had 2 kids come out of the woodwork.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the worst moment of
my life. This is what's really like humbling him. I feel like I'm finally coming to terms with myself.
Yeah. Yeah, this is scary. The Cowboys are going to do something, or Jerry Jones, maybe more specifically, is going to do something. I'm alarmed. I'm a little afraid, but it's exciting to watch.
My favorite line I heard from Sports Talk today is, "We don't even know if the Saints are good." It was my favorite, like, random takeaway of, like, they got beat by the Saints and everyone's like, this Saints team's for real. We don't know that. No. We just know they're bad.
I'm happy everyone's coming around because I've been saying this for 4 years. And I said, I think preseason on this show, it'll be week 10. We will still not know. And the Saints, like, we don't know what the Saints are ever. No clue.
No. Just not to leave the Cowboys too fast, I will say, every sports league now gets like a behind the scenes, let's follow these players show. And Netflix did one for the Cowboys cheerleaders, and they've had shows forever, but Netflix did one. It's a big player was super into it. I was kind of like watching in the background, and then it was like the season finale, and it clicked for me. Like they were like, all right, we've got a big playoff game against Green Bay coming up. And I'm like, pass the popcorn, have a seat, everybody. Like all the cheerleaders were like, we can't wait. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm like, oh, maybe you will. Wrong.
Yeah, you might.
10 minutes of TV I've ever watched. Just everyone being like, all the cheerleaders on the screen being like, this stinks. I'm like, oh, it's awesome.
That is good. That's very good. It was only 10 minutes. That should have been the whole season.
Should have been the whole. I would have taken a season of that. I'm on the record. That might have been my favorite sporting event I've ever watched.
I mean, it's great. It was good. And that's the thing. So Cowboys, complete disaster. We need them to get good. We have to. We need them to make the playoffs. And then we need to do it again.
I don't know.
Every year. It's so fun.
There's a cold wind out east brewing, and his name's Drake May. I think we just root. I think the Patriots are going to get good soon.
Drake May look pretty good.
The best 20-point loss I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's a win in my book. Like, you know what? Maybe we go all in. Maybe we trade for Devontae and Max Crosby. Let's do it.
And then bring back Bill.
Yeah, that's true. I'd like to think Bill's been there the whole time.
That's true. But by the way, I mean, it might get lost in the Drake May of it all. I do love me some OJ Mayo.
Yeah. OJ Mayo? Jared Mayo.
OJ Mayo. Shooting guard for the Mavericks.
I love OJ Mayo. I haven't heard from him in a handful of years.
As soon as I said it, I knew what happened. It's like, nope, basketball player. But no, any other games you wanted to randomly talk about? I mean, do we want to talk about Jaden Daniels? And I mean, we probably should talk about Ravens Commanders. It was the best game.
It was the best game. Commanders have been awesome. Cliff Kingsbury's been incredible as an offensive coordinator. He's just been cool. Like, he's been very likable. He's shit talking his own players. He's shit talking the other teams. I'm like, this is the guy that should have been the head coach of the Cardinals, but it wasn't. He like matched Kyler Murray's energy, which you should never do. Like that, then it made me hate him. And I thought that's who he was. And then he went over to some third world country, did some unspeakable things that we don't know about and will never know about, hopefully. And then now he's cool. I love that. Dan Quinn, I can't tell you how excited I am. Every time Dan Quinn is losing, he has his forward hat on, and then the camera turns away and it comes back, and all of a sudden his hat's backwards. I'm like, fucking Dan Quinn's arrived. And then the Commanders kick the shit out of people. It's incredible. And Jaden Daniels is obviously great. He is. What I don't like, this is what I'll say. This is why we should talk about. We've been a very pro Lamar Jackson show from the beginning. Like, when everyone was saying he should be a receiver, we're like, maybe not. Maybe he's a good quarterback.
Maybe he's better than most of the people in the league. Correct. Yeah.
People are saying Jaden Daniels is just Lamar Jackson, except for he can actually pass. Let's chill. Like, he's the reigning MVP 2-time.
He's the odds-on favorite to win it this year.
Yeah, and we don't need to keep burying Lamar Jackson for no reason. It's fine. Jaden Daniels is also good. It's not like we only have room for one black quarterback. We got to pick. Like, they're both great.
It was, you know what? I wasn't going to go there now that we're here. I feel like I was super into how much we were hyping up this matchup, like on Sports Talk and stuff. And then I got that vibe. Like, all of a sudden it was like the Sunday countdowns were like, and who will come out victorious? Will it be Jaden or Lamar? And I'm like, why does it sound like one of them's not making it out of there? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, who will be the black man we care about? Let's not do that, folks. Also, by the way, I think Mahomes is also the best black quarterback in the league, so we'll see. But I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know if I love the way Jaden Daniels gets talked about. Here's the question I have for you. Deep down. No, this is the better way to do it. How many drinks does the Bears GM have to have before he's like, fuck, could have been Jaden?
Well, now everyone's praising Caleb Williams because he somehow was gritted out a win against the Jaguars on their home turf over in England. Like, how could anybody beat the Jaguars? That's incredible.
That's why I think it's a 4-drink thing. I think 4 drinks in, he's like, not bad, but I mean, just between you and me.
Yeah.
Wish it was Jaden.
Probably should have chose Jaden. Caleb's looking better, but he's not looking as good as somebody else. I don't think it's people are, at least before this week, were like, is this a Trubisky Mahomes situation? I don't think it's that. I think Caleb's good. I don't think he's Jaden Daniels, but I think he's good.
One, it didn't help. I feel like people were very clearly making draws to like what they perceived happened between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. But first off, CJ Stroud is for sure going to Sam Darnold it. 5 years, he's going to be Justin Fields somewhere. Bryce Young's going to be great, and he'll never be great in the Panthers jersey.
Okay, you said a couple things. I think you may have mixed something up.
No.
You think CJ Stroud's going to Sam Darnold? Or what's that? I don't understand what's happening.
I think I said the wrong name at first. But first off, I think
flipped a few times
I think CJ Stroud has already Sam Darnold. He's good already right where he is. So,
okay. So if there's a quarterback, you know what? You know who also Sam Darnold? Tom Brady to all those Super Bowls. Like that's the verb.
Honestly, now. Tom Brady did Sam Darnold a little bit. He went to Michigan. He was a third stringer. No one believed, and then they believed. Listen, true. All of that's bullshit. What I meant to say was Bryce Young. That's all it was. I just misspoke. Will Bryce Young needs to get out of Darnold? There. Yeah.
I mean, the
Baker
Dolphins,
Mayfield.
if they Baker's a good example. If the Dolphins wanted to win whatsoever this year, they should have traded for Bryce Young. He had to have been available for something. You know?
I think the Panthers at this point, I think it's apparent that they're like I think they're Cleveland a little bit in the sense of we can't let people know we fucked up yet.
That's true.
I think,
But,
is this fair to say? I think the Panthers are convinced they've screwed up, but don't know which way they've screwed up.
That's probably true. Tepper has no idea what's going on. He thinks everybody's terrible.
He's like, I can't tell if I drafted a bust or if he's just going to be great somewhere else. But it's like, either way, he won't be good here.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure. We talked about this with a different team, I think. But the Raiders are obviously going to be going for a different quarterback next year. They're probably going to draft like Shadur Sanders. Some team needs to bring in Dalton, Flacco, and somebody else. Like, let's just have all the 40-plus guys on a team. Rodgers, sure. Like, they're balling right now. Andy Dalton's playing well. Joe Flacco obviously continues to play well. It's been pretty incredible to watch. Throw Sam Darnold in there. He may as well be 40. Like, he's failed so much. All these guys are playing so well right now.
I do think, here's what I would do. Some team needs to get into this where, like I feel like the Rams really revolutionized the thought process that somehow both came into fashion and out of fashion as fast as each other because they were like, fuck them picks, and then immediately blew up. And everyone's like, I don't know if we're going to do that. I want someone to be like, we're never drafting a quarterback. We're only, and I know who it is. It's the Steelers.
Yeah, true. There's a case to be made. Why would you? It's fine. Like, it's so much better to just pay someone you know is good. Stop wasting everybody's time.
Literally last year. I forgot about it.
Drafted or?
Didn't they pick someone, or was that 2 years ago now the Steelers drafted a quarterback?
They drafted Kenny Pickett like 3 years ago. Hometown kid. He was bad, so then they shipped him off to Philadelphia.
Yeah, there you go. But, because it happened at the same time as all the Justin Fields shit. Yeah. There you go. But no, I think, and who's also face of that? This guy might win MVP. Baker Mayfield, to that point, I think is one of the best stories in the NFL this year because it coincides with the freaking dumpster fire that is Cleveland. Yeah,
it's so good. It really warms my heart to see anyone escape Cleveland and play well. They deserve it.
Yeah, NFL doesn't really have small market teams, but I would be curious if one of these teams who feels like we're not going to spend big money every year, what if they just did Flacco's good? What if the Titans were Flacco's our guy?
You can't say, there's no way you could say that you can't win a Super Bowl with Flacco or Dalton right now.
No, I don't think so.
Because they're not going to be expensive, so you can pay elsewhere. It can be prove-it deals. That's why the Colts, it's maybe they trade for somebody at the trade deadline and they go in with Flacco this year and see what happens. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl, but if they can somehow be the healthy team on the AFC side when, everything is happening, never know. Because offensively, I think that they'd be fine. It's just defensively, can they keep up? And maybe if you trade for one person.
Who's the team I want to do this? Because I feel like you're not going to be on board with this. But I feel like he's had enough separation now. Let's say Raiders. Raiders got some good heart at different places. If Russell Wilson ends up there, can we go on a run? He's got enough old man in him now. I feel like maybe we got some of the stank off him. Honestly, you know where he should go? Seattle. All the way back.
That's what they need. I mean, Russ, that's another one. Russ should go to Miami. Him and Tua are the same person anyway. But, I mean.
Tua calling people out online.
He probably. What else is he doing? Apparently, he's seeking more medical advice this week, which means he's waiting for that one person to be like, yeah, you could probably play again. Be like, bingo, let's go. Here we go. We're back in.
I know. Oh, man. I'm trying to think of a lot of, blowouts this week. I think tonight's game will be good. We're obviously having this conversation before Bills Jets.
Yeah. And along those lines, really quick, if you guys are still in the chat, let's do a fantasy football minute. Number one ranker on Fantasy Pros right now. McAdoo, Shakira, Ty Johnson, obviously. I was creating lineups a little bit earlier in the show because I saw James Cook was ruled out. I would still go Shakir over Ty Johnson, but Ty Johnson will be involved.
Nice.
And then Banderson, what's up? What's Tracy's outlook when Devin Singletary comes back? Hold both, wait and see. It's just going to be a split. It's going to be super annoying. But the Giants are interesting. How bad are the Giants, Jake? Like they're not, the record wise is not good, but they never look as bad as like some of these other teams, I feel like.
They are. So here's what I was thinking. I think, how bad are they? My trigger finger reaction was they're the second worst team in the NFL. But that is not true because I think their defense is okay. Yeah, I so like a lot of their defense. And it's like probably gross guys that I shouldn't like, but it's like I really like Dex. He's great.
He's incredible.
Burns was a good addition, and then I can't remember the name of their middle linebacker, but he's like ranked second in the league. If you
is it Okereke?
Yeah. If you're a fan of PFR, but I don't know. So with that said, I feel like I can't say you're one of the bottom teams in the league when I think you've got a top half defense, and I think they do, but I think their pass rush going into this week was like ranked second or something. So all that to say, from the bottom of my heart, if Will Levis is the quarterback you pick to lose you a game, if we're doing dodgeball draft of quarterbacks, like who's on my team, Daniel Jones is last. I think he might be the worst starting quarterback in the NFL.
I think I disagree with you, but Will Levis is worse.
No, Will Levis makes poor decisions.
Correct. All the time. A lot of them.
Daniel Jones tries hard and is still bad.
Would you go with Aiden O'Connell over him?
I kind of like the cut of his jib, to be honest with you. Here's where I go with other folks. At least they throw the ball away or like hand it off. Like Daniel Jones needs a lot of plays called for him and still screws it up.
Yeah.
He no longer doesn't throw picks. Like that was his redeeming quality for a long time.
For you, at least
it was statistical. He went a huge stretch without throwing a pick. He led the league and
I thought you were saying now he doesn't throw picks, and you're like, I wish he still threw. At least he's trying.
No, now he's throwing some picks in the game. That was the whole thing was he's not great, but he's a good
his whole thing
manager.
Before was that he fumbled it twice every game. He's shored that up at least.
Yeah, I just think their offense is here's what I was going to say, and this was too strong because my original thought was if I had to pick the last team I would want to be to start over from scratch and make this team good, it would be at least the Panthers are it's hard to screw up a blank canvas. And Andy Dalton's there.
Andy Dalton is there. I think Giants are close.
To what?
I don't think they're that bad. It's what we talked about during Hard Knocks. They're we need to put everything around Daniel Jones to be great this year, so then we can tell if he's good or not. Okay, let's put a good situation around him, and then they don't address the offensive line whatsoever. If you give him average or above average offensive line, this team I truly think they would rival the Commanders right now in the division. Because I think the defense is good. I think their running backs are good. I think Malik Neighbors is a certified stud, and They got other good receivers.
Banged up now, but yeah.
And I believe in Dayball.
Yeah, me too. That's the part is I just don't if everything goes right, the game might be close. I don't know if there's a lot of teams that are like that right now. I think the Commanders thing, when I really sit with it, is true. Because I've been thinking about the Commanders for a while of part of the reason I think that Jaden deserves all the love he's getting is the difference he makes of that team is crazy. So maybe on paper, they'd be close. The gap between him and Daniel Jones is insane, but and I know that's not what you're saying.
I agree.
I don't know. Here's where I'm at with the Giants. I think if I were gonna rank through the teams in the NFC, I easily get through over half of them before I get to the Giants.
Just in terms of what you believe in, because that's obvious, I think.
Yeah, I think in terms of like how good they are.
Okay. I mean, they're right next to one other team in the standings right now.
Them or Cowboys right now because I don't know.
No. Giants or Saints?
Saints.
Are you sure?
No. But I don't know what they are. Right answer. No one should be sure. I know what the Giants are. Bad.
Okay. Yeah, and the Saints
could be good. That's why they're better.
Okay. What's the point differential for Giants? Have a minus 25 point differential at 2-4.
Listen, don't make me play my favorite game, which is what if they were in the NFC South? Like I know it'd be a different ball game if the Giants were down south. But
I feel like this isn't getting talked about. I feel like the Giants are cursed at kicker.
You're right. That's not being talked about.
Like, because last night I think they win with a competent kicker. They didn't have a kicker before, like, because their starter got hurt.
I know.
And then they had to get Greg Joseph. Greg Joseph stinks.
Joseph missed 2 30-yard field goals. Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
All-time football name.
That is a good football name. The Panthers have a minus 100 point differential already. Pretty impressive.
The Panthers have a minus 100 point differential?
Yeah, they've been outscored by 100 points this year.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, for a second, I just filled that in as Saints in my head, and I was like, they have a minus 100 after the Cowboys game. That's crazy.
But also this. Okay, so Saints. Let's talk about that. They're 2-4, one of the worst teams in the league by record. They have a plus 25 point differential
because of that game.
It's so confusing.
They are confusing. I think that's a fair comparison. I totally get it. I like Dable. I think they are better than what I don't know. It's not fair. They're a team that finds ways to lose. I wish they were playing a little bit better.
Jesus. The Titans, they're 1-4. They have a minus 14 point differential. That's it. Across 5 games. They're getting outscored by an average less than 3 points per game. And they are 1-4. Do you think maybe one player could make a difference on that team?
Is point differential your favorite stat? Because it might be mine. I wish I had. If I could keep one stat in my pocket, it would be the point differential of the Vikings that year that they went like 13-3 or whatever, where it was like, but they had a point differential of +2, and it was like, this is a bad team.
Let's just look at last year. There had to have been one team like that last year.
Dan Olkowski pulled out a stat today. Sorry to bring up his name out of nowhere, but he pulled out a stat today that I never heard of that I was like, I have to dive into that. That was like, I can't even remember what it was called, like something imaginary yards or like, but it was the difference between where you would have been sacked and the gain you made in the play.
Yeah, bad stat.
Sounds like a stat made up by the guy who ran out the back of the end zone.
That's true.
Like he's like, how many yards would I have gained if I just tiptoed?
Yeah. You know what? I had an opportunity there, though. No one's giving me credit for that. The Eagles last year, they finished 11-6, and they only had a +5 point differential. 11 wins, +5. Not great. No. On the other side, the Steelers 10-7, -20 point differential.
Yeah, but the Steelers are crafty.
They are. They find ways to win games without scoring more points.
Well, that's hard to do. People probably respect point differential automatically. I think the only reason why I felt like I had to defend it is because for a long time Packer fans didn't. Because Matt LaFleur, the trademark of the Matt LaFleur Packers, when we lose, baby. We lose by 40. Yeah. So it's like point differential doesn't mean anything because it's like in like the golden Rodgers years with him. It was like, we lost to the Chargers by 35. Oh, well. We're bad on the West Coast.
Yeah. What do you expect from us? Who cares?
It was like, the points don't matter. So other folks are probably like, it's a given. I like the point differential stat. But oh no, I told you I had to take with the Browns, and I wanted to throw it at you, and then maybe we can transition to other fun things.
Yep.
Here's my take with the Browns, which is listen, we've been out on Deshaun Watson for a long time. So if you're first time tuning in, listening, I'm out on him. Don't like him.
Big
All
news.
right. Big news. Big news. He's bad. They're in a bad
Ooh.
situation.
Get him.
Everyone is giving the owner a lot of shit for being like, dude, pull the plug. It's bad. Get out of there. He spent $230 million. I dropped $5 on a bad bagel. You think I'm throwing it out?
No. Yeah. That's a good point.
I might order a second bagel if the waiter says, did you like it?
Yeah. I did, but now that you talked me into it. That's a good point.
Everyone's full of it. Like everyone's like, oh, if I spent that money, I'd pull the plug right now. If I spent that money, I'd be wearing a Deshaun Watson t-shirt everywhere I went.
Yeah. No kidding. That's a very good point. Because something's got to happen. There's no way he stays this bad, right? And then that was me a couple weeks ago. Okay. I said, there's no way Deshaun Watson stays this bad.
That's how I feel about Will Levis. Yeah.
Well, that too. But then it was like the day after, it was like, Deshaun Watson's got new accusers. I'm like, oh no, here we go again. It got worse.
It's bad. I just everyone's like, Stefanski, blink if you're okay. Man, it's buyers.
Legit.
They're in, dude. They spent all this money. Yeah, they're not going to be like, oh, we screwed up. No, of course they're like, please work out.
Yeah, and I like him, but the alternative is also Jameis Winston. And it's like, yeah, let's go to Jameis. Let's tune in. Let's hear what he has to think.
And even with Jameis, sure, you'd be bad. You'd be more that's the thing is I feel like people are like, admit your mistake, be morally better. Go with Jameis. You're still paying Deshaun Watson whether he plays or not. I've already made the moral decision.
Yeah, fully guaranteed. It's done. It's completely done. You might as well hope that he somehow becomes well liked at some point, and you can put him on a billboard and make some money. Because if you get rid of him, you can't even really sell his jerseys anymore. They just need him to do something to recoup some money, a little bit.
I think what they should do is trade Jameis Winston. And then sit Deshaun, but put in a backup so bad that they're like, maybe Deshaun is better. And boy, do I got a guy for the cause. Okay. That's right. My friend, K-State alumni, Skylar Thompson. Pull him in. He can fit the system. And it either works. He's a great glue guy. I never heard anything bad about him. Go Cats. True. And he's either going to be good or they're like, we're already paying Deshaun.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Man, there's a lot of ways you could have gone with. I thought you were going to bring it back around to Will Levis, but no.
No.
Will Levis versus Skylar Thompson. Who's better?
What?
I don't know.
Again, if I had to pick one of those guys, I have to lose this game. That might be the most fun allegory you've ever presented to me. You've got to lose a football game.
Yeah.
The rest of your team is great. And you have to start one of those two at quarterback. On paper, you would pick Skylar, but would you?
No.
I think you'd pick Will Levis. That's crazy.
It's like
Skylar would just hand it off. He knows.
That's true. Yeah, he's not afraid to hand it off when he has to. Will Levis is like, you know what? What if I fake the handoff? The defense will not see it coming, and then I might throw it with two hands. That's great.
Skylar broke his ribs on a play where he had 3 open receivers.
Jeez, throw it away, Skylar, or just walk out of bounds. No one's around, and you're standing there so still.
Yeah, I think if you put Skylar Thompson on the best team ever, he'd Terry Bradshaw it. He'd lock in.
I hope the defender felt bad for what they did to Skylar Thompson.
I hope so. He's a great guy. I hope he got up and he said, "Oh, Skylar."
Yeah, I think Skylar Thompson apologized to that guy afterwards too. That's how nice of a guy Skylar Thompson is.
What do you think Skylar Thompson said to Will Howard this week?
Good play.
Former teammate.
How do you play? How do you play?
You got to get down. Next time, that'll save you the game.
Or Throw it away.
It is such a heady move of like, I'm gonna run a little and like do too much. Throw it away, man.
It doesn't. We need to put. If I was 2 yards closer to the end zone, I might be able to make a play next down. Like, there's no reason. There's nothing there. Nothing there at all.
I saw our kicker, and he's a lock from 35, but he's shaky from 37.
Yeah, I know his range. He has no shot right here. But if I can get up a little closer.
I just saw the yellow line on the Jumbotron. We're on the wrong side of it.
He didn't even try to signal timeout though either.
Ohio State game, if the Will Howard reference didn't click it for you.
Will Howard was so confident in what he was doing that he didn't even call timeout. Because he was like, everyone's on the same page as me right now. Somebody else will call timeout. He didn't even attempt it. He just slid down and looked around dumbfounded.
I love the idea of Will Howard being like, it's go time. It's our time. We're all in sync with my game plan.
Yeah. God. Not every play is a QB draw, Will. Like,
not every play is a QB draw. I can't believe he went down.
So, yeah, look at the screen's so big. Oregon just put in the biggest screen. That was the whole talking point ahead of the game. You can see the scoreboard.
It's bad, man. It's not what's his nuts? It's not Brooke Lopez scared of the clock bad, but it's pretty bad. A play no one will remember because Kevin Durant's shoes were 2 sizes too big. But I mean,
thank God.
Dude, Will Howard, I told you this before. Will Howard might be the only NFL player who would recognize me if I walked by. Met him. We've talked a couple times. And for one play,
part is,
I was like, I wouldn't have made that mistake, Will.
Well, yeah, after that play, now you're
I would have clocked it.
Well, maybe not NFL player. Maybe he'll just stay a college player. Like now that dream's going to die. He's not going to make the NFL.
I guarantee, God is my witness, Will Howard plays for the Rams in 5 years.
That does feel right. Stetson Bennett's still there.
I know. Will Howard's going to be
there?
back up. Yeah. Skylar Thompson is the next Colt McCoy. That's the feeling I've got in my bones.
Don't disrespect Colt. He was good in college ball.
So was Skylar Thompson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Relatively so.
Okay. He was there for sure.
He did play college ball. That they have in common. Colt McCoy, before people get mad for dumb reasons, Colt McCoy was better in college than Skylar Thompson was, okay?
Let's get a fact check on that. That's where we need that.
I might take Will Howard, though.
Okay, that's fine. I wouldn't, but that's fine.
That's fair. Anything we want to end on, Zach, or go to next? End's a strong word. Who knows where we'll go?
Let's end on baseball. Give me something. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what round it is. I know the Brewers lost, and Brewers fans were like, can't believe we lost that. And then I brought up old messages from before the season when everyone's like, Brewers suck. Like it comes around every time. Every time. Wisconsin sports, let's build up our confidence, and then they'll crush us.
I do think you would have loved the end of that series, though, because I saw it unfolding. By the way, I watched it as all baseball games should be watched while I was bowling. So just as how I would have liked it. But the one baseball guy that I know you'll appreciate, Pete Alonso, crushed their dreams. And Pete Alonso was hitting like 100. Like his batting average was so bad in the series.
All year long, by the way. Had him on my fantasy team.
Bad.
Not great.
Everyone was like, this is the time you want to face Pete Alonso. I was like, is it? I was like, okay, because it's 3-1. He threw the worst slider Devin Williams has ever thrown in his own career. And Pete had a quote after the game. My only fear was that I was going to swing too hard. He had it on lock the whole way. I thought it was going to go through the wall. It was one of those in the bar where I heard someone yell, oh no, when it left his hand. It's a bad pitch. So he eats it. They move on. Mets still in it. There's some fun things happening. Do you want me to start with my pessimism or with my fun takes? Because I have some things that I think you'll like that are happening.
Yeah, start with the fun takes.
All right. Well, first off, where we're at. As we record this, We are in the championship series in the leagues. So the AL NL championship series. The Dodgers killed the Mets. That's always the underdog story I like to see. Oh, the fun Mets are here. Whoa, curb stop.
Okay.
That's happening on the NL side is the like miracle Mets. Like they're really playing well, but I would say comfortably we're one of the least talented teams. At least at this level. Folks might get mad because they had a lot of folks they paid a lot of money, but they've really overachieved, especially like they traded away half of their roster payment is like on guys playing on other teams this year. So they did not think they were, it's crazy. I think they have $70 million on people not playing for them this year.
Nice.
One of them is our boy Bobby Bonilla getting $1 million until 2035. So they're paying a lot of people not playing for them. So great that they're still here. Mets are a fun underdog team. We'll see it'd be fun if that series is tight with the Dodgers. But that's one side. On the AL, another great David Goliath matchup. It's the team you didn't know existed, the AL Central champ Guardians, Cleveland.
Change the name. Bad.
Change the name. And the Yankees. Kind of the Yankees fans weren't super sure, but like this was kind of a lock. Like Judge and Soto. Judge is incredible. Has had like his probably best year at the plate, even though he had one year where he set the home run record. So he's great. Soto's good. Get a little choked up thinking about how good the Yankees are because I hate them. And then the Guardians, on the other hand, a lot of plucky guys who hit singles and then just a killer bullpen. So that game should be fun. So that's what's happening. I think there's some fun World Series matchups. I will say we were here a year ago. I'm so excited about these series. Zach, we have a nightmare World Series possibility. I swear to God, if we get Mets Cleveland, it's like the one bad outcome. We were here a year ago, and I was like, I'm having so much fun with the playoffs, but if it's Rangers Diamondbacks, it will not be fun. And here's the problem. I'm rooting for both of them and their things because they're great underdogs, but I would love like Dodgers Cleveland, super fun. I would say the one World Series in my lifetime most casual people watched was Cubs Cleveland. Like Cleveland is a fun team to just kind of not care about because they keep games close. So Dodgers Cleveland would be fun. And I think obviously, as much as I don't like just the favorites in it, I think Yankees Dodgers is a lot of fun. And I think Yankees Mets is maybe more fun. That is the most fun outcome if the Mets win. Mets beat the Dodgers and Mets beat the Yankees is like all-time fun. So that's what's happening. The thing I thought you would like is Cleveland can't make a playoff run without suddenly everyone making a bunch of major league references.
Okay.
So one, they've got a guy who every time he comes up to the plate, Lane Thomas looks at his bat like he's Serrano, and he's like, "Fuck you, Joe Boo." So he says that every time he goes up, which I like because one of these times he'll hit a homer. And then this you'll actually like. We love a closer entrance, and they should do this all the time. They've been doing it for most of this season, so Cleveland fans don't get mad at me. But Emmanuel Clase, the best closer in the league by far, comes out to Wild Thing.
I just found out how you pronounce his name. That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's been on multiple fantasy teams of mine. Class A.
That's right. Or as Zach calls him, Manny Clace.
Yeah, it is. Bingo. I just found out there's some Brewers guy that I kept pronouncing his name wrong as well. I think he's a shortstop. And I pronounced his name in front of so many people wrong.
Willie, I'm sure you said Willie
Adames, right?
Yeah,
I said Adams. It's got to be Adams.
I know it's Adames. Yeah.
Adames is so cool. Okay, continue.
No, you're all over it. So I mean, and listen, that's the fun part of MLB. The Chicago White Sox have a center fielder. You would swear his name is Louis Roberts. It's Luis Robert. So that it's a nice.
That one I don't like.
Come on, it's a little fun. So anyway, entering to Wild Thing is awesome. I think the potential matchups are great. We had a very feisty. Both of the NL matchups before this were in division, so that was a lot of fun. Very heated. The one thing I think you will like is The Dodgers beat the Padres, but at one point the Padres were so fired up that Manny Machado threw a ball into the dugout at the Dodgers manager.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, they were
That should happen
fired up.
more.
He was also talking shit in Spanish, like people in the MLB wouldn't catch it, and it's like you pick the one league, like like a third of the audience is Spanish speaking, so higher than that. So anyway, a lot of fun things. Zach, here's what I want to talk about with baseball. We talked about it a year ago, and I think this is what I want to ask you: is this the only time this has ever happened? Which is, I think we may have just seen a playoff format prove it's bad.
Okay.
We talked about a year ago, bunch of issues with the MLB playoff format. For a refresher, some of the common things, and I'll break down the format for you and for those listening in case you didn't know. But it is funny because stick with me, folks, because I think they have to change it, which is the first time I've ever remembered a playoff format doing this. So the common criticisms are that with the current format, it's the wild card series are 3 games, which means everyone's got to play like 2 p.m. There's like no primetime games. They're all shitty times because they're trying to get them all done at the same time so they can get to the next series, because the top 4 teams get buys, which is all well and good too in each league, except, especially before this year, if you had a bye, you were hosed. The odds that you won if you had a bye were really bad. And some of that was because you had just enough rest, not to really like get right or anything, but just enough rest to like lose your momentum. So all these hot teams would come in and for the most part kill folks, unless you were Houston. So that's right, your team. So that was one of the issues. The bye did not help. Also coming in, the argument was like, well, it used to be the first round was 1 game, but no one liked that because, you played 162 games, but then it only came down to 1 game anyway. So that doesn't make sense. It should be a little longer. Well, Zach, after 3 years, 3 seasons of this format through 2 rounds, here's some things. And like I said, I think it just proved that this does not work. It's the easiest fix ever. Here's what you need to know. So through the divisional series, which was the round we just got through 3 years of it now, so since 2022, no team in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs has won the series after losing the first game.
Oh, really?
Hasn't happened. We've stretched out the series. We need more than 1 game. We need more than 1 game. You lose. You lose the first game. You lose the series. And not only has that happened in the first round, you get to the second round, you lose that one too. It continued this year. We had 2 series go down to game 5 and it still didn't change.
Okay.
A little bit of that, of course, is luck, but some of it is this, which is a 3-game series is nothing in baseball. It makes no sense.
Sure.
Because if you win game 1, the odds, like most teams, it's like, cool, if you don't have a 1-2 punch, your hitters are probably better. So 3 games is way too short. It doesn't make any sense. And the other thing is then you get to round 2. And again, in the years past, it's like you either have all this momentum and you win that way, or you get to round 2 and it was a fluke, you won and you lose right away. Like it goes one of those 2 routes. Followed up by this fact, Zach, which is of the 12 wild card series, so that first round since this started, only 2 of them have had a game 3. So not only has the team that won the first game just won the series, so why are we doing series anyway? But in all but 2 of them, and they were very clear, obvious, like outliers there, it's gone just the 2 games.
Okay.
So they're sweeps anyway. Why are we playing a second game?
Yeah.
So that's been bad. And this was kind of alluded to. This year, 3 of the 4 divisional series went to the favorite. So that swung it. So now of the 12 series in the divisional round since they've switched, 5 of the 12 have gone to the favorite. So you can see that before this, it was 6 of 8 had gone to the underdog. So this helped correct that some in the divisional round. But 2 of them went to the game 5. Right. So that almost got bucked anyway. So that and all the reasons they said, like there is no argument that still exists that makes sense to have this format. And I just don't know if I've ever seen any playoff format do that before, where it's like, oh, we make more money. No, just make it a one. You'll make more TV money because no one's watching the freaking 2 p.m. games.
Right.
They announced like they've set the record for the last 5 years of like the lowest watched baseball games, and they're all the 2 p.m. games. So what are we doing? And before that, they were setting records. I know it wasn't the fans, or it was like the teams who like, we don't want to do 1 games. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter anyway. There is no parity. They're not going to 3 games. And even if they do, if you won game 1, you still win game 3.
Right.
So format sucks. So here's the easiest fix in the world. You want the same amount of games. Just make game 1 or series 1, the wild card, 1 game. Bye doesn't matter less because it's a 1 game bye. No one wants to be in it. Because the other thing is like, why would you want to be a favorite seed? Your odds of advancing are worse.
Right.
You barely get any time. So make it a 1 game thing, because then, yes, your bye's not much, but you didn't have to play in a 1 game do or die. Add those 2 games back to the next round. Just make it 7 game series all the way through.
Yeah. Is that what it was before? Before
it was 1 and 5. So it was the same, but there was 1 less playoff team in each league, which I think is what most folks would want. But I think that I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think we've gone past it. I think you just do 1, do 7, because then you get like, hey, owners, we literally have the same amount of baseball.
Yeah. Have you thought about the MLB doing an in-season tournament? And then you could put any stakes on that as you would like, which the NBA has showed. You could do an automatic bid to the playoffs. And then that could shorten some things up possibly as well. That could decide the buys. How about that?
I think they could do an in-season tournament. I've argued they should do the World Baseball Classic in season, like soccer. Just give them a fucking break.
Honestly, that'd be fine. Or let's just we can just move the entire season and shorten it. That's fine.
By the way, that's a Pete Osmond take. All the people who are like, the season's too long for it to be a 1 game playoff. I would rather shorten the season than add games to that. Because here's the thing. This is, in my opinion, the lamest argument everyone's ever made. Well, when your team's in the 1 game playoff, it stinks. Well, guess what? My team's in there hardly fucking ever. So fuck you, play 1 game. Go home. Get a bye or be bad.
It's okay, maybe this is kind of along the same lines. It's more so along the same lines as we need to just move the season. Have we ever had a snowy World Series?
I don't know if we had. Old people will know right now. And if that offended you, I'm sorry. Someone was just like, I feel like I called someone out. It was like, we have, and then I called you out. But
it seems very possible, right? Why is this? Why are we even playing with the possibility? Why wouldn't the World Series be in September or August?
Yeah,
listen,
the whole season should be shorter. 1997 had some flurries during a game where the official game time temp was 35 degrees.
Yeah, that stinks. That would be terrible.
Cleveland.
It's not fun for anybody.
Oh man, and they had to play Florida. That sucks for Florida.
That does suck. See, that part's kind of fun, I guess. But like, I don't know, man. Baseball shouldn't be played in the winter, and it kind of is on both ends. Listen, like you start in the snow and end in the snow.
Yeah, that's so real. We were at a game where it was kind of flurry. But it doesn't make any sense to me. We've also said that there's no logistical, if they could and not lose a bunch of money, they would, correct, because it doesn't make any sense to run in a football season. No one cares more about baseball than they do July, August.
You know what? Okay, here we go. If we trim the season to 100 games or just finagle it so it doesn't touch football whatsoever, I will give baseball a real chance. A real one.
I honestly think all those years where people are like, why is no one watching baseball? Because it's so fucking like, I don't think the length of the game, I'm glad they fixed that somewhat, but I never thought that was as much of an issue as the length of the season. Like, it's like, These games don't matter.
At all.
No. And like, listen, the season's this long and games are like the season's still coming down to like a 1-2 game spread. It's not like you'd lose anything there. Freaking half of the league makes it anyway. 14 of 30 teams make it. Like, just cut in half. Everyone plays longer. I don't know. Like, makes no sense. I did think of this. We'll close on this because I did think of a name for a segment earlier in the day, but I didn't think of what the segment would be. But I really like the name. And I think we've stumbled upon it. My segment name was No Creative Solutions. And I wanted a segment where it was just, we present a problem in sports and we just present the easiest possible solution. I think we did it with baseball. Just cut 40 games off.
Yeah. Everything would be so much better.
You cut 42 games off, it's still a 120 game season.
Yeah. That's the issue. Like, you want your fans to live and die with what your team does. And even the most diehard don't.
No.
Because it's like, oh, we lost. Okay, well, maybe tomorrow we'll win. And if not, we play again. We play 2 games tomorrow, actually. So it's like we have 2 shots. That's insane.
Maybe we'll bring that segment back next time, because the reason I thought of it was like, everyone's like, how do we fix the Cowboys? I'm like, I've got a non-creative solution. Gary, sit down. Pick someone.
Let's do that next week. Non-creative solutions.
No creative solutions.
No creative solutions.
Absolutely. I can give you solutions. No promise on Flair.
So I want people, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this after the fact, let us know at FlurrySports Pod on Twitter or under the YouTube live at the FlurrySports YouTube channel. Give us some of your biggest problems in sports, or like not even biggest. It can be minuscule. It can be something that's just bothering you a little bit. And Jake and I will go through and we're going to give some solutions, but it's going to be black and white. It's going to be pretty down the line. We're not going to think too hard about it, because the easiest solution, the most likely solution, probably the best one, easy enough.
That's right. Deshaun Watson's bad. Don't blame him.
Yeah. Like, crazy. That's insane.
Next week. Yeah.